Hey everybody, Marcos Villegas here. The man right here is Ken Porter. We're at his gym here in Las Vegas where your son, Shawn Porter, just got some work in finally after this whole situation that happened with Keith Thurman. What'd you make of how he did? Did he do the things that you wanted him to do?
He did an excellent job. I'm very happy with his performance tonight. He boxed very intelligently. He showed speed, he showed quickness, he showed offense, he showed defense, he showed ring awareness and ring generalship. He did an excellent job. I'm very happy with that. He showed his conditioning was excellent. You know, he brought his weight down to 151 pounds. You know, it was no title fight, so there was no need to go to 47. But, you know, he did all the things that he needed to do physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. He was balanced in every level. You know, nutritionally, he ate the right foods to bring the weight down. So he did a great job.
You know what I liked when he moved in there was the way he was moving around, cutting the corners and doing the lateral movement. I thought that he looked really, really good, and I could tell that was an improvement.
Yeah. But we use certain things against certain people, you know what I mean? But he displayed all of that, you know what I mean? He displayed all of that, and that's great.
Looking at this whole thing, I know you've probably been asked, but I'm just kind of curious. I've never seen this done before for a fighter, as long as I've covered it. What, I guess, sprung like this whole event that we had here today?
Shawn was my first main event fighter, so I started doing main event amateur shows with him.
Oh, you're doing like smokers and stuff then?
He was 12 years old, you know what I mean? And that was all the way up until he was a senior in high school. We were packing houses back home, you know what I mean? But
wait, let's pause on that. How were those shows back in the day? Were they like crazy like shows?
They were great, you know. He did some at his high school. He did some at some, you know, really nice venues in different cities. Of course, he, you know, traveled to different cities to box as well. But I mean, it was amazing to have those opportunities. And so, you know, when this fight fell through, I said, you know what? We're here in Big Bear. We're going to go ahead and train, continue to train. Then we're going to go down to L.A. and we're going to continue to train there. Then when we get back to Vegas, we're going to keep working. And you keep working, keep bringing your weight down, and let me go to work right here. So I went to work right here, and that's where this came from. It was, you know, it was born out of a necessity being the mother of invention. So we needed to put a cap, an end to all this training we've done since the Bronner fight. You know, Shawn didn't take 2 weeks off after the Bronner fight. He took 1 week. You know, and he's been working that whole entire time since then. He's taken a little trip here or there, but, you know, nothing extended. Now he gets to do that and not feel like, oh, I should be training. Or maybe they're going to call and say, we got to fight. You know, we don't have to worry about that. We know when the fight is. So we're going to plan our camp accordingly. He's going to take a week off, go do nothing, come back, start training for about a week. When he trains for about a week, after that, I'm going to send him away again because we've got about 3.5 months. So, you know, we're going to pick our spots and let the batteries recharge. And then, you know, as long as Mr. Thurman is there, we'll be there. As long as we see he's coming along well, we'll be there with him.
Looking at the time that it's been since the fight was finally announced up until the fight's going to happen in June, do you see it kind of as a blessing in disguise? It's more time to prepare for Thurman, or do you see that maybe it's too much time and that you just want to get it over with?
No, the only thing that I'm happy about is, you know, that, you know, hopefully it's in a bigger city, maybe New York or L.A. or even here in little old Las Vegas. That would be great. But no, we didn't want this. You know, we didn't want that. We wanted to fight. There's nothing like fighting. That's what we do.
And with the extra time, is it better for you to just kind of look at him and really break him down, or you already have him broken down?
No, we were ready. We were ready. That's why we're here tonight to do that. You know, we were ready.
You know, there's been a lot of talk about the whole situation. I didn't get a chance to see you, but how'd you react when you got the phone call like, hey, you know, Shawn got in an accident. This fight's going to have to be... I mean, so Keith, excuse me. Yeah, Keith got in an accident. We're going to have to push this fight back.
Like I said, we had just got off a plane to go to Big Bear. So we're in California. We're getting ready to get a rental car. And we turn on our phones. After you've been on a plane, you turn on your phones. Who did I miss a call from? And there's all these calls and all these text messages saying, call Mr. Heyman. You know, these are. And so we gave him a call, and he said, hey, before anybody tells you this, let me tell you, something happened to Keith. And what are you guys going to do? You going to head back to Vegas? And I said, well, let me think about it, you know. And at that point in time, we were both stunned while we were making we were filling out our reservations.
What'd you tell Shawn at that point?
I told him, but we went ahead and got the rental car and drove on up to Big Bear.
Yeah.
So he didn't lose focus. We went up there, we sparred up there, we ran up there, we came back down, we worked out at the wild card, we worked with Shane Mosley. We came back to Vegas, we continued, and it showed tonight. It showed tonight. If he had taken those 2 to 3 weeks off, he wouldn't have did what he did tonight. He wouldn't have been able to bring his weight down to 151 pounds, So he stayed focused. I'm very proud of him for that, Most fighters would have just went, oh, let me go turn up, or let me go eat anything, and let me get big, and, all that kind of stuff. So, no.
I think that's kind of what makes Shawn different, though. Like, you could just kind of tell that he kind of has that dedication and that mentality that he doesn't go and do all those other things that could kind of harpen a fighter.
All those brothers over there from his church. So, we go to the church with those guys over there and Remnant Ministries, and, those are the kind of people he surrounds himself with. So those are positive guys. And he's got, his friends that he have here from high school, all of them graduated from college and decided to move to Las Vegas, and what his best friend took the bar exam here, So, the people he surrounds himself with are the same type of people that he is, they're quality people.
That drive to Big Bear, was it kind of rough? It's rough for me.
Yeah, it was rough. Yeah. It was rough.
It's terrible, you guys. It's bad.
That ain't no joke. That's serious. And we went up there at night, so it really had me shook up. And so I actually...
You're lucky there was no snow. Was there snow?
No snow, but I actually told some guys, I said, don't come up tonight. We barely made it. It's scary, And Shawn's driving really fast. I'm like, man, slow down. You don't know these curves. And he's like, well, everybody else is driving fast.
I asked Shawn this, but you as a dad, as a trainer, from this point on, a few weeks off and then right back in it, how do you kind of keep things fresh where he doesn't get bored with working on the same stuff over and over?
We do a lot of different things. We do a lot of different cross training. Over here you see our altitude chamber. He can run on a treadmill in there. He can hit a bag in there. He can work on that Helix machine in there. He can do a lot of different sit-ups and stuff like that. He can jump rope in there. He can actually catch mitts in there and even spar in there if he wants to. Besides that, of course, he swims. He rides bikes. We jump out of planes, 1,500 feet. We just did that maybe 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
We drive fast cars on the track, so he does a lot of different things. We'll probably go horseback riding and also do some scuba diving too. Just keep it fresh, have a good time. He likes to go to karaoke with these guys over here, No, that's what he does.
Is he a good singer?
Yeah, I wouldn't say all that. But no, I wouldn't say that at all. But those are the type of things he does to keep himself loose and keep himself happy, and it works for him.
Let me ask you this on a final note. If I were to somehow get a DeLorean and go 88 miles an hour and go into the future on June 26th, and I open up a newspaper, and there's a picture of you and Shawn, what's the headline going to be? What's the main thing that people are going to say about this performance that you want him to have against Keith Thurman?
I hope they're saying a lot like tonight, that he put on a beautiful display of boxing, but I believe Shawn has the ability to, with 8-ounce gloves and no headgear, like we had tonight. We had 16-ounce gloves and headgear, but with the 8-ounce gloves and no headgear, I believe he has the ability to stop Keith Thurman from continuing, And so that is some of the things that we'll be working on, we were working on leading up to this, was not to go for a knockout, but to force the referee or force Keith, to have to say, that's it, I can't take it no more. So that's what we're going to be looking for. We're looking for the stoppage. Right. We're going for that.
Ken, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. June 25th, Showtime, but CBS as well. As Showtime presents Keith Thurman, Shawn Porter, the man right here, will be in the corner. We'll see what city it's in, but the city that we're in right now is Las Vegas here at the Porter Training Facility.